We have the return of Mickey Rourke, much to everyone's surprise.
Everyone's surprised. Mickey Rourke, an extraordinary life story. So he started out he studied under Lee Strasberg, and then in his early, at the Lee Strasberg Institute, I beg your pardon, and then in his early films he did things like Body Heat and Rumblefish and Angel Heart and Barfly, and he was really, really well considered. And he won an award in 1982, which is the Boston Society of Film Critics Best Supporting Actor for Dinah. And he had I remember going to see him in the cinema. And I actually remember going to see Dinah and coming out of it and really wanting to be his character in it. I thought it was incredibly cool. And he had that really sort of mumbly way of talking, which I really liked, and he looked a little bit like James Dean, and as I said, he looked a little bit like a young Brandon, and he was great. And up until Barfly, everything was really great. And then things just went terribly wrong. There was this collection of bad movies. There was A Prayer for the Dying, which is him going, I want to be Irish, but I can't because I sound more Cornish.
Yeah. You don't want to listen to Mickey Rourke on Ireland.
No, believe me, no. Mickey Rourke's political understanding of the Irish conflict was, shall we say, shallow. Then there was Homeboy, which was him saying, I want to be a boxer. Then there was Johnny Handsome, which was him saying, I want plastic surgery, which was strangely prophetic. Then there was Wild Orchid, in which he demonstrated that he wanted Cariotis, and that all ended up very badly. And then he did Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, which is a film in which the product placement is so bad it's actually in the title of the movie, which he had clearly done only for the money. And then everything started to fall apart. And there was a documentary in 1996, a television documentary called Mickey Rourke, Actor or Boxer, because in 91 he had gone back to take up professional boxing, deciding that actually he didn't want to be an actor anymore, that acting was for wussies, and what he really wanted to do was a boxer. And this thing about, is he an actor or a boxer, to which the answer was neither. And the year after that, he, in his lowest point, I think, made a film called 9.5 Weeks, The Return, another 9.5 Weeks, a.k.a. Love in Paris. So he'd made 9.5 Weeks, the film in which he famously throws the contents of his fridge at Kim Basinger. Yep. Kim Basinger, who described him at one point as a human ashtray. I think she meant it in a good way, but somehow it didn't sound like that. So he ends up...
In what way could you interpret human ashtray in a positive
Well, she said
way?
it in the Kim Basinger way, didn't she? She was sort of saying it because she wasn't really, she didn't do harsh, other than when there was that business when she lost the town because of dropping out of what was the film?
I've got no idea
Boxing
what you're talking
Helena.
about now.
She was going to be in Boxing Helena, and then she pulled out of Boxing Helena. It was all a bit of a mess. Anyway,
wise move.
Things were not good, but she's not in another 9.5 Weeks because she actually had a career and a life. And Mickey Rourke, everything had gone so badly wrong. They said, look, Mickey, we're going to make a straight-to-video sequel to 9.5 Weeks in which Kim's not coming back, but you can be in it. Would you like to do it? And he said yes. And it was directed by this woman called Anne Gorso. And I know this because Linda, my wife, wrote a book about straight-to-video erotic thrillers, amongst other things. And she interviewed Anne Gorso, who is the director of this film. And Anne Gorso said this brilliant thing in the interview, which was, she said that they had got this is a straight-to-video B movie. This is how low he'd gone, right? And they got everything set up in Paris. And they were waiting for Mickey Rourke to come off and throw the contents of his fridge at Angie Everard, who was kind of standing in for Kim Basinger. I think she played Kim Basinger's sister. That's always how it works in these things. And she said, and we were there in Paris, city of love. It was beautiful. We had the bed and the honey and the petals and the Angie Everard. He was all very, she's French. He said it was so lovely, and Montmartre, and then the plane come in, and Mickey, he come off the plane. I see him coming through he looked like Quasimodo. He said, we have to rearrange the whole schedule because he looked like Quasimodo. And Mickey Rourke had changed radically as a result of A, the boxing, B, strange surgery as far as anyone can tell, and C, years of not being very good to himself. So things had, and at that point, that was it. It was all over. Mickey Rourke was clearly unemployable. And then there was this very, very long comeback line. He was meant to have had a role in Thin Red Line, but he got cut out of it. He apparently walked off the set of Luck of the Draw in 1999 when they refused to let him get his pet Chihuahua in, because he's got this little dog.
He hasn't got one.
He has. He's got this really annoying little dog that he loves. It may not be a Chihuahua. It may be a toy.
By the way, is his comeback as long-winded as the preamble to the review of this film?
This is important because this is all part of the review, okay, fine? Okay. Then he was in Sin City, in which he played Marv, who was very sort of smashed up, and he appeared to be Marv without the aid of makeup. He was a kind of cartoon character without the aid of makeup. And now he was going to be stuntman Mike in Grindhouse. Now he comes back in The Wrestler, and in The Wrestler, he plays a guy who's been in the ring all his life, whose life is essentially falling apart, whose heart is failing on him, who has spent 20 years of his life having his face smashed into the canvas, and basically is a great, wounded, walking hunk of meat. And the reason that Mickey Rourke is right for the role is it's kind of like, that's the life that he appears to have led since he first burst onto our screens in Diner and Rumblefish. Here's a clip.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
That's okay. When was it?
A couple of weeks ago.
How are you feeling?
I don't feel like Hercules.
What happened?
I just was walking in the dressing room and the guys told me I just dropped like a brick and I don't remember nothing. Well, now the doctors tell me that I can't wrestle no more.
What are you gonna do?
I just don't feel right. And that's why I wanted to talk to you. Because I don't want to be alone.
Randy. You should be with your family now. Don't you have a daughter? Where's your daughter?
My daughter, she don't like me very much.
I don't believe it. Everybody needs a father, and trust me, this kind of thing brings people together.
Now, that's one of the quieter moments.
I was going to say, there's not a lot of wrestling going on.
No, the louder moments consist of Mickey Rourke in the ring doing the wrestling with the, in the very theatrical pantomime way of wrestling in which they all agree beforehand who's going to do what, but it is to still get hurt, but obviously it's not a kind of real wrestling match. I mean, I think it's no surprise to anybody to know that some...
It's not a genuine sport.
Apparently
contest.
Some of them genuinely aren't. Some of them, when the people produce, the barbed wire and the sticks and the chairs and the staple guns, for example, apparently it's not spontaneous, it is planned in advance.
I don't remember that on ITV on a Saturday afternoon.
The scenes in The Wrestler in which they do wrestle each other with staple guns do look surprisingly verite and done for real. Now, here's the things to say about the film. Firstly, it is the role for which Mickey Rourke has clearly lived all of his life to do this. I mean, he's incredibly bulked up. He was a boxer. He has genuinely been down and out. He has found his way back. He's now won a Golden Globe. He's just been nominated for the BAFTA. It's very unlikely he won't get nominated for the Oscar. And we now face a situation in which it is entirely possible that Mickey Rourke will get up on the Oscar stage and do what he did at the Golden Globe stage, which was thank his dogs for standing by him during the lean years. So Mickey Rourke's performance is terrific, but of course it's terrific because it's kind of him. The other two things to say about the film, and these are very important, these have been overlooked slightly. It's directed by Darren Aronofsky, who really had to kind of grapple his way back after The Fountain, which was a movie which was incredibly sort of ambitious and many time scales and strange and science fiction influence, and everybody hated it. And it was a total stinker. I liked it, actually, but it went down really badly. No, I mean, I don't think it was a stinker. People hated it, they thought it was a total stinker.
You mean you...
No, I liked it.
You mean you were out of step with
I was out of step
else?
with popular opinion,
Funny,
yes. But I thought that movie was really good. The other thing is that Marisa Tomei's role in the film is every bit as important as Mickey Rourke's, and here's why. Because Marisa Tomei plays this pole dancing stripper who's his only friend. We heard him there in the clip. And actually, one of the central tenets of the film is that essentially him and Marisa Tomei are sort of the same thing. They are both people whose bodies are on display for entertainment and who are being terribly exploited by their audience on the one hand. But the difference is she seems to have some kind of handle on the way in which her job is going and the difference between the person that she is on stage and the person she is in real life, whereas he doesn't. He genuinely is Randy the Ram and he can't get away from it. And I think that people have slightly underestimated how much Marisa Tomei's performance actually mediates what might otherwise simply be Mickey Rourke walking around with this kind of very sort of strangely monstrous visage, moaning about how bad life has been to him, in between being slammed into the wrestling. The wrestling scenes are really tough. The wrestling scenes do look like people are genuinely getting hurt, and I believe that they probably were. I mean, I think it's quite hard to fake
genuinely
all that
using
stuff.
a staple gun.
No, I mean, it must be a special effect, but blimey, it looks like they're actually doing it. I mean, I've apparently this is not unheard of. People do staple each other in hideous ways in some of these extreme sports things, and it's all horrible. I mean, it's all absolutely grotesque, but there we go. It's a strange world. But the point I want to make is you can't underestimate the importance of Darren Aronofsky's direction, or indeed the importance of the script, but you cannot underestimate how important Marisa Tomei's role is in making Mickey Rourke's character work. And this is, people keep saying to me, oh, well, it's a man's movie, right? It's a man's movie. It's about people fighting each other. It's not a man's movie. I think it's a movie for everybody. I think people can be. I mean, obviously
Kids.
grown-ups, kids. Yeah, I mean, but the best
Couldn't
line,
get in to see Tale of Despereaux. Let's see the rest.
and
of
the
it.
best line in it is Marissa Tomei has it when she says, he's all battered and bruised, and he's got these things, and there's a kind of Christ-like thing going on with him. He's often sort of seen laid out in a sort of messianic pose. And at one point, Marissa Tomei says to him, when he's got all these wounds, she says, it's like the Passion. And he says, What you mean? She says, no, the film, The Passion of the Christ. She says, you should see it. You'd love it. They just get this guy and they just beat him up for 2 hours. And that's almost the best critique I've heard of Mel Gibson's film in a very long time. I think the rest of it is a very fine piece of work. I think Mickey Rourke has every... Sorry. Mickey
Leave your High School Musical pen alone.
I was just getting excited and I accidentally prodded Zac Efron.
That's your dream again.
That is. And I've run out of steam now.